Okay, good evening, guys. So previously, the forestry engineer has suggested a way to reduce the forest destruction, and it was against by the motorists. So I'm calling all of you here today to discuss the issue and to find out the best way to stop or reduce the destructions of the forest. So the participants of the discussion here today is me, Kayang as the representative of the government, and Ting as the representative of the forestry engineer, and Patrick as the motorist, and also Ying as the citizens. So let us start. Let us start with the forestry engineer with Ting. You may propose your ideas, and we will discuss it together.
Oh, okay. So as a forestry engineer, my first solution is definitely hoping that the government can enact a 70 km/h speed limit throughout the country. It's because the speed limit will cut emissions significantly and save the trees. However, I noticed that many motorists are against the idea. So what if we try to reduce the emissions from industry? Actually, the process of manufacturing, mining from raw materials, and dealing with the waste all take energy. So most of the products that we buy, everything from phones and TVs to clothing and shoes, are created in factories. So based on the statistic, it can actually add out to about 20% of the greenhouse gases produced worldwide. So the idea I propose will definitely cut the emissions significantly. For instance, using materials that are not made from fossil fuels and don't release greenhouse gases is a good start. For example, cement release carbon dioxide as it hardens, but there are alternative products that don't release the greenhouse gases. Companies can also use the renewable energy sources to power the factories and shift the products they created in fuel-saving cargo ships. So does everyone agree with this plan?
Yeah, shooting, I agree with you. Malaysia is a country that have a lot of manufacturing industry. I think this industry have affects a lot of gas emission in pollution. So maybe we need to restrict some things and reduce the emission from the industry.
How about Jing? Do you have any
Yeah.
ideas
Yeah, I
about
also agree with
Ting's
shooting idea because
opinion?
shooting's opinions.
Yeah,
Because
you may continue.
when less
Anything to add on?
because when less gases emission to the atmosphere, then it will help to reduce the forest dying problem.
Yeah, I think Ting's ideas is very good, and industry. I mean, besides then the vehicles emissions, industry also contributes a lot in the greenhouse gases emission, and so in my opinion, as a government, I think that reduce the emissions is not more than enough. I think we should implement some policy to make sure that the gases that emit by the industry is being filtered so that we can reduce the amounts of the greenhouse gases that release to the compositions of the maybe CO2 or nitrogen, oxygen, or whatever the greenhouse gases that emit to the atmosphere. Yeah. So you can continue with your second ideas.
Okay, so from my point of view, emissions can be reduced also by encouraging the use of public transportation service. It's because public transportation produce far fewer quantities of air pollutants like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen oxides per passenger miles. So public transit reduce the number of single occupancy vehicles on the route, which reduce the amount of pollutants entering the air. In addition, most public transit does not have door-to-door service, meaning that the riders have to walk a few blocks to get a public transit stop and to their final destination. So all of which will reduce the vehicle emissions. A study found that expanded public transportation service reduced the peak auto use by 22.5% and led to decreased amounts of mobile source emissions from single occupancy vehicles. And also another research also found that many cities have successfully managed to reduce the emissions of carbon dioxide by as much as 50% by reducing or limiting the flow of private cars. That's all for me.
It seems like a good idea, but I think it needs to take a lot of time to really complete the public transport system of our country. Since in our country there is only a few places that are occupied with full public transport system, which in KL in Selangor area. But the other state is their public transport system is really terrible. Maybe we need to have a lot of time and also have a high cost in building the complete public transport system.
Yeah, so I think that before
That's
the
your
public
point also.
transport is fully developed first, then yeah, so I think before the public transport is fully developed first, then maybe we can try to practice the carpooling.
Yeah, actually, I'm quite agree with Ting's point, and it's also very matched with the government policy. But as I also agree with what Patrick said, that we need to improve the network, the public transport networking first before we can encourage the citizens to use more on public transport, which now they actually quite relies on their own private vehicles, which emit a lot of carbon dioxide gases. Yeah, thanks for Ting's idea sharing. And now we will proceed with Patrick as the motorist. So please show us your ideas.
Okay, so I have collected some ideas from all the motorists in these cities. So the first ideas we want to propose is we can use a smart electronic appliance. So have you guys heard about the sustainability achieved via energy efficiency 3.0 programs? Okay, so basically this is a program that organized by our government. In this program, everyone is encouraged to use an electronic appliance that recommended by the Malaysia Energy Commission. The Malaysia Energy Commission has put effort in giving a ratings to all the electronic appliances in our house, starting from 1 star to 5 stars. So the stars is representing the energy efficiency rating for the appliance. So we are encouraged to use the 4 to 5 stars ratings energy efficiency appliance. Okay, so by using all these energy efficiency appliance, we can reduce the power usage and also save our energy usage and electrical bills. Okay, so the example for this electronic appliance maybe is like the air conditioning with inverters and also refrigerator with high efficiency motors that can reduce the usage of energy. What do you guys think?
I see your point, but I think it should this idea should be depends on the spending power of the consumers, because maybe the smart electronic appliance might be more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that not everyone can afford the smart electronic appliances. So maybe there is another better idea. Yeah, so
Yeah, I understand your concern. So maybe we can do some electric usage audit and try to save some the money from the electric usage and try to upgrade your electronic appliances one by one and slowly to use all the 4 to 5 star rating energy efficiency appliance. What do you think, KHAI?
Yeah, actually, I'm quite support your ideas. I think that actually we need to use some more. I mean, we need to, as a government, I think we should try to reduce the low stars appliances on the market, and then we need to promote more 4 to 5 stars energy saving appliances. Yeah, and then so that the price can be reduced on the market with more competency with the others companies together, and that might be helpful to the environment and also the citizens as well.
Okay, so other from smart electronic, using a smart electronic appliance, the other points that proposed by us is reduce the food waste. So as you guys know, human need food, and the farm production and also the processing of the food release 14.5% of the man-made global greenhouse gas emission. So it's a huge number, especially in beef and sheep production. So all the foods relating with beef, such as the butter, the milk, and also the meat, release a lot of greenhouse gas. So maybe to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, maybe you can reduce the intake of red meat, which is the beef and sheep, which contribute a lot to the greenhouse gas emission. We also can prevent the wasting of food by planning our meals and also freezing the excess food and reheat again the leftovers to eat it in the next day. But for sure, you need to follow the food safety. Do not eat the leftover that might poison you. So that's all from me, the representative for Motorlist.
So does anyone have to
Yeah, I agree with you.
have any comments? Okay.
I agree with you because reduce the food waste can reduce the emission of the gas into the atmosphere. Then it will help to solve the problem of the dying forest.
Same goes to me because food waste is a problem. Reducing the food waste is one of the problems that we are concerned right now.
Yeah, you are giving a very good idea, but I was wondering how much it will help. I mean, by reducing the food waste, is it really giving us a very visible impact on how to reduce the forest destructions, or I mean the greenhouse gases emissions to the environment? Yeah, but I think we can try to study more on this. Thank you, Patrick, for sharing us his idea. So next is Ying. You can share your ideas with us.
Yeah, as a citizen, I would like to propose my solution on how to overcome the dying forest from the citizen perspective. So first, I would like to suggest that we can promote paperless culture, as the reduction of paper use will reduce the amount of trees that will be sacrificed in order to fulfill the human needs. It is obvious that if there is no demand, there will be a significant reduction in cutting down the trees. So from the paperless project in 2014, worldwide consumption of paper has risen by 400% in the last 40 years, with 35% of the harvested trees being used for paper manufacture. So I think that reduce the use of paper can help to reduce the problem of dying forests.
So thanks for sharing the first idea. Anyone has comment?
Yeah, it seems like it's a good idea, and you can try to have this idea going, especially in these pandemic times, and try to use the work from home time to implement this paperless.
Yeah, I see Jane's point because by reducing the paper, the use of paper can lower down our carbon footprint. But just that, I also wonder how effective this solution is.
Yeah. For me, actually, I was thinking of that. Is it the purpose of cutting down or the trees or logging is fully sitting on the papers, or actually they are majoring in others industry for the, I mean, they're exporting the logs in other usage instead of the paper. So by reducing the papers, how much it will actually contributes to reduce the forest destructions? That is my concern about your ideas. Okay. Thank you. And you can proceed with your second ideas.
Yeah, besides that, I also think that the public should support the campaigns or talks that are organized by the government. This is because the campaign or talks will be very important and necessary in order to raise the public awareness regarding the effect of dying forests. So the ways to overcome the dying forest that the community can practice in daily life should be delivered through the campaign and talks, so that the public should take the initiative to reduce the dying forest by contributing their little effort, starting from their daily life, such as carpooling. So by practicing carpooling, the citizen can reduce the emission of carbon monoxide and solve the problem of dying forests. Then besides that, the talks should also deliver the effects of dying forests, such as greenhouse effects, global warming, and flooding, so that the public can know about how terrified the dying forest is. Moreover, with this awareness, the public should support the licensed company that are committed to reducing the cutting of trees and buy only the certified wood products. The public should only buy the products with FSC marks, which stands for Forest Stewardship Council. And by this, it is all about business. So if we don't buy the products, then they will improve their practice, and indirectly you can help to reduce the wood extraction for domestic use, such as fuel and charcoal. So with the cooperation of all the parties, I believe that the problem of dying forests can be reduced.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but I think we need some rewards for all the citizens so that they can really support the government campaigns and all the talks. Yeah. Because campaign is quite boring, maybe.
Yeah, but I strongly believe that we should spread the awareness and raise the consciousness, because I think we can teach our family and friends about the issues about the around the deforestation, and let them know about the consequence of deforestation. So let them know the importance of forests to us.
Yes, I could agree no more for Jing. As a as a government, citizens should support on all the campaigns held by the government. Yeah, I think that's a very strong and good point from Jing. Thank you very much. Okay, so the last ideas will be proposed by the government. So as a government, I think that the public transportation networkings around the country is not very the coverage is not really good. The networking is not deep enough to reach all the citizens in our country. So my proposal is we should try to do more in the infrastructure expansions on the public transport networking. We see that actually the public transport coverage are very high and dense in the major cities only. So for like Penang in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, yeah, they have very high dense of the buses, and in KL they have light rail train and also mass rapid transit. So, but this only in those very major cities. So what we need to do is actually we need to try to expand the networking to other states. For example, like Malacca, Johor, or even Pahang. Yeah, like how we can do it? We can try to increase the frequency of the buses, or can we schedule more buses to in the same routes, or we can try to expand the routes of the bus to even further places or to reach more citizens. Yeah, we can see that in our country, most of the citizens are rely on their own private cars. Their dependency of the car is very high, which causes the congestions on the roads. And all these congestions will release more and more greenhouse gases or CO2 gases, those hazardous gases to the environment. So the way to reduce it, to reduce the congestion, to reduce the use of the private car is to increase the awareness of the citizens to use the public transport. And for that, what we need to do is actually try to make a better infrastructure to the citizens so that they can use the public transport instead of their own private vehicles car. So any ideas?
I strongly agree with you. I think most of the citizens want to take the public transport is because of the coverage and availability of the public transport. So it seems like a good idea that can encourage citizens and encourage public to take the public transport.
Yeah, I completely agree with this idea also because in Malaysia, most of the emissions from the transport sector are actually produced by the private vehicles. Just that, I think this solution has to be implemented within like we need time to implement this idea like many years, right? To cover all Malaysia with public transport.
Yeah, I strongly agree with this point because I think that the obstacles that stop the public from using the public transportation is because the coverage is not that wide, and also the condition of the public transport currently we use is maybe not that good. So maybe if we improve the public transportation, this will encourage the public to use the public transportation.
Thanks for your support. And I think that this is actually a very long-term project to do and to implement it. So my second idea is we can propose a law or policy to ban the use of vehicles with age more than 10 years. So with some studies from the scientists, actually we can see that the cars with age more than 10 to 15 years, the old car, actually they emit more greenhouse gases, more CO2 gases compared with the new cars. So, and in Malaysia, the government don't actually has the law to restrict those old car to drive on the roads. So, well, for my opinions as a government, we can try to learn from Singapore, our neighbor. They actually ban the vehicles that with age more than 10 years to be drive on the roads. And this reduce the emissions of the greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. So what you guys think?
I think this is a good idea. However, I think again this has to depends on the spending power of consumers, because not everyone have the ability to buy a new car after 10 years.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
also-
the process in eliminating the old cars is also a problem that we need to solve. I think the old cars in the road now is far more than that we expected. So yeah, we need to think more. We can discuss more about the solution.
I also partially agree with this because I think if we ban the use of vehicles in more than 10 years, this will create a lot of the maybe rubbish that we need to bear with this. Yeah.
I appreciate with your feedback, and we will try to discuss more on the solution. So now it seems like everyone has proposed their solution, and we have some very good outcome from this discussion. So to end the meeting, to end the discussion for today, I will try to conclude the outcome for the discussion. So we have agreed that from the solutions by the forestry engineers, which is from Ms. Ting, that we actually agreed that the reduced emissions from the industry is a very good and strong solution to reduce the to reduce the destruction of the forest. And from the solutions by the motorist Patrick, that I think reduce food waste is a good idea, which is agreed by two of our members here. Yeah, reduce food waste. And from the solution by the citizens, that actually which is Miss Ying, we should support the government's campaign and talks that promote the citizens to carpoolings and reduce to increase their awareness about the dying forests. Yeah, and for the solution proposed by the government, we agreed that by expanding the infrastructure of the public transport networking, it should help to reduce the forest destruction. And I think that's the discussions for today. Thank you for your attending, and we hope that our Earth will be better.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.